everyone. Welcome to the Coolest Chills podcast. I hope you're good. This is Blue Alliance Show. Also, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. If you're new, those are watching YouTube, please kindly subscribe and like. Those are watching X, make sure you come on YouTube. You can subscribe, like, and continue watching on X. So, big up, Coachella. How are
I
you,
can't
bro?
complain, man. I'm excited for this particular edition. I have a lot to talk about, and hopefully it goes well. And my biggest hope also is hopefully I don't hear my daughter screaming, but I think her brothers are doing a pretty good job right now. So let's go on with it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Fulham match. But before that, I think I need to ask you about the game we played last night against Legan was or something like that. I know I'm not good with names. Sometimes I might butcher them. But what are your overall thoughts about the game we played?
I mean, here's the thing: it was a bad performance, and bad performance triggered the sort of reaction we did see from the fan base. But I think it was overboard. I think everything we experienced after that game, the bad reaction, the reaction that followed the game was driven by the hatred for Enzo Maresca. Unfortunately, nobody talks about the fact that I think that's the first time we're losing a game in that competition, or maybe the second time that we lost a game in that competition, irrespective of the opponents we've been playing against. I think the manager deserves some respect. And the fact that we beat them 3-0 in Poland, what a lot of teams hadn't done before us. We beat them 3-0 in Poland, and we were comfortable going into the second leg. I didn't expect us to play as badly as we played, but I didn't expect us to be at our best, because I knew before time that we have a very young team, and naturally, young players. They have a mental, you could say, the sort of mindset that when they play against teams that are playing badly, bottom table teams, they usually don't go into those games with the sort of seriousness needed. They disrespect teams because they go into those games with the belief that, yeah, we're winning this one. That's exactly, you can argue, what happened on that day. Sort of nonchalant attitude that we saw from Cole Palmer, that first opportunity that we created, I think it was just him believing certainly that was a goal. You get my point now. I wasn't expecting a perfect performance, but at the same time, I wasn't expecting us to play as badly as we did, because I realized before time that we have a young squad, and usually you get such display from young squad when the game, you could argue, is a mere formality. But that's just my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we were too toothless. Also, we are too fragile. For example, you can see Tosan Chile always relaxed on the ball, just like, for example, we are leading maybe 5-0 or 4-0. They were cruising just like nothing. I don't know what happened, but again, Ray James mentioned something that maybe it's because they were winning 3-0. That's why maybe the players
And,
were
and that,
relaxed.
that and that was exactly my point, because the game practically was over the moment we beat them, after we beat them 3-0 in Poland. So for young players
Mm.
that don't understand, they have that mindset. Like, it's just like buying kids things they want all the time. You understand? They don't understand that money is spent to buy that thing. I'm not sure what are the analogy to use to make it make sense, but you get the point, because the mindset for the kids was that, yeah, it's over already. We're just playing that one for the sake of it. And had it not been for the same mindset, you'd argue that we could have beaten no was it Ipswich Town. Yeah, but that shows you Charity FC is still well and truly in existence, which for me, Charity FC is simply a mentality thing. But go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, bro, we're too relaxed. It's like we're winning 5-0. I don't know what was happening. Right, I can't, to be honest, tonight, but again, overall, I'm glad we are through to it. As much as I wanted us to win yesterday. So before we talk sides of the
Mhm.
game, I just want us to Maraska was saying in the press conference, even you can see the comments of the fans. No matter what Enzo Maraska says, they don't like it. They ask him about Andre Santos. He says, "We know Andre is doing well, but we are just focused on how we finish this season. When we finish this season, we are going to start to think about next season." So I think it was spot thoughts about this.
Unfortunately, they hate him so much that everything, whatever he does is an issue. Um, Had it not been for the hatred, I can assure you that sometimes people would just move on from whatever he said. He says, but what they do these days is they listen to him, find something that's easily, you can say, easily moldable into an issue, take it, run with it, and people will suck up to it. Unfortunately, I've listen. He's not a good speaker. I like him, and I still believe he's the right man for the job. And
Mm,
I still believe, irrespective of where we are in the table and how badly we played of late, that yeah, we're making progress. We don't. I get it, but unfortunately, people, the average football fans, they see three things in football: win, lose, draw. You understand? Unfortunately for him, here's I don't think it's just not fair. It's simply just not fair. They're not judging him fairly. They're blaming him for all the issues we're experiencing right now. And look at, for instance, the game. Was it the game against Ipswich? Now I can't quite remember which of the games where we completed the game with 34 shots, but was able to get 9 on target, created 4 big chances, missed 4 big chances, and yet the fans were blaming him. You get my point
this
now?
time, yeah.
Exactly. And then for that last game against Legia Warsaw, we had good chances, excellent chances, even before they got a chance to score their first goal. But I'd say the nonchalant attitude from Cole Palmer, as if, yeah, this one is definitely going in, but it wasn't even close to going in. There were other
Mm,
people that missed the chances, and yet the why blame the manager for the poor performances from the player? And unfortunately, you've heard them say he ruined Cole Palmer. I'd
mm,
say I'd agree that he ruined Cole Palmer. If Cole Palmer, if he's not been getting scoring chances and fluffing them, then it'd be agreeable. It'd be a good argument to say he ruined him. But he's had plenty of opportunities that had it been last season that he put 90% of them away. But he's suffering from low confidence. But unfortunately, people hate Maresca and the ownership so much that they don't care. They just want to blame it on right now the manager because they've seen that they can't get the owners to what they're you can say the what's it called, the protest and everything that they've aimed at the owners didn't yield any positive result for them from their perspective. Now they're transferring the aggression, the hatred, and dumping it all on the manager, and that is dangerous because transfer aggression leads to you not looking beyond the aggression or the anger and seeing things the way you should see them. So my point is, the game against Legia Warsaw, unfortunately, we were bad, and that is down to the mentality of inexperienced players, as as I've explained already. And you could, when you listen, if you listened to Rhys James, you could sense it that yeah, he was saying players probably didn't take that game seriously because they thought that's it. We've won this. It's a the game. It's a mere formality because these things happen. Kids, even fans, sometimes are guilty of that, saying, "Yeah, it would take a lot for them to go through, and not us, because they have to score like 4 goals or 5 goals before they go through." So, unfortunately, nobody is actually talking about the fact that we were progressing to the semifinals and Legia Warsaw and the fact that we had good scoring opportunities and the fact that the manager said he had to start Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson to see if they would pick up form because they've been poor. Nobody's paying attention to that. And
Mhm.
sometimes, as a football fan, in anger, in frustration, you find yourself doing the same thing. But I think over time, I've trained myself to usually catch myself quickly and say, no, this isn't the right thing to do. And in all honesty, you see that game against was it Brentford, when Cole Palmer came in, had a few opportunities, and others that were brought on had a few opportunities to score goal. Had they scored the goals that they had the chance to score, believe me, nobody will be complaining, because the average football fan understands win, draw, lose. You get my point. So, but I'd say inexperience was one of our biggest enemies against Legia Warsaw. We played so well away at Poland. We dominated them, beat them, and then in our home we were playing as if, yeah, we don't have to even you say exact so a lot of effort, because yes, we've won already. That was what I experienced. That was what I saw that day. I'm not saying Maresca is perfect, but I'm not going to blame him for the way we played that day. And as you can see, he was frustrated. He wasn't happy. And something else I want to say quickly. Sorry, but if you want to go ahead and speak before I continue, that's fine. I've heard people say his approach is the issue. No, the same approach was the reason why we led to us creating as many chances as we created. Was it against Ipswich Town or maybe against Brentford? And only had got only 9 on target, created 4 big chances and missed it. But because we're not putting away the chances, people's you could say default behavior will almost always be to go back to discussing how the manager is the reason why everything is wrong. Everything that is wrong at the club is this again. Yeah, that's just my opinion anyway, and I'm done. Actually, it gets me, you can say, wind up or angry whenever I see people not reasoning objectively and just blaming the manager for everything because, yeah, they cannot reach the owners, and the owners could care less what they think about their approach and the plans they have for the club.
Yeah, and then before we continue, GFC Gavin, also big up for joining. Appreciate it. Before we go to Bobby, look at this. So we created 5 big chances them. Same thing we did against Ipswich Town. Created a lot of chances, and so clearly, like for example, Nonimadi Weke, Nicholas Jackson are not clinical as we want them. Even yesterday, Nonimadi Weke had chances to score goals, but he did
And
nothing.
then the
That's the
kid
issue.
came
I
on,
think.
the kid in Tariq George, but he was selfish,
Yeah.
and that comes with the territory of still being a young player. Eventually, he will improve and become a more again and become a little more selfless than selfish, which will help him become a better, which will help you say make him a better player. But go ahead.
I agree with you. Tarek George there, he was so selfish. I was like, George, someone is next to you, pass him so that we can goal. But he just blast the ball away. So anyway, before we talk about the coach and everything, let's and give us his thoughts about the game yesterday. Bigger Bobby, what are your thoughts about the game you played last night? Bobby?
Oh, hi guys. Hi. Sorry, I was.
Big up,
Hey,
Bobinho.
hey, coach. Big up, my brother. Listen, if I can just have the grace to just give my synopsis of this, it's a little. I just need a little time. First of all, I've been looking on X, and one thing I find completely intolerable is fans heckling any of the owners. How dare you? Who the hell do you think you are? Roman never spoke to the fans directly. Who are you, because you've got some silly little podcast, to expect an owner to stop and talk to you? Who does that? I just find that sometimes we lose our heads too much. Football is about opinions, it is about emotions. We all have them. I was angry, and I'm to a certain extent, I still am angry with Maresca for his tactics yesterday. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I want him gone straight away. He needs time to put things together. And if I can take the synopsis back to the beginning, you see, all this owners, that owners, this is just BS. Be careful what you wish for. Don't let your frustration make you throw the baby out with the bathwater. The owners we have done really over and beyond what they should do. Well, what is reasonable to expect? They have a remit to try their best to put the interest of the club and the first team in the forefront, and they've used what they know how, their knowledge of money, to spend 1.5 billion on the squad, which nobody else can easily sit down and say you can cough up that money in just over 2 years on the
Mhm.
squad.
And here's something
And
for you, Bobby. They spent
let me
that and
land.
they didn't want to
I did
win.
that.
And I just want to interject a bit. Pay attention to what they say. They spent that much money, and their intent isn't to win. They just want to throw away the money for this because they have it. Go ahead.
I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean,
Mhm.
they are doing their best to win in a difficult terrain. The time of Roman was another era. That's been and gone. Now we have PSR, FFP, and so many other hindsight regulatory situations that they have to navigate. So they chose a project based on youth that made them carpet sweep and to keep sweeping up the best young talents all over the world so that they can get the cream of the crop eventually to be first team players, and the rest sell back for a profit to be able to make the club profit profit and sustainability regulation compliant. It's a difficult field to cover. So, as far as I'm concerned, right now, leave the owners alone. You can get worse owners. These people who get out my club, get out my club for effing who? If they go, do you think anybody coming in after will be any better?
Look
They
at Man
might be
United.
20 times worse. Exactly. Let them just continue what they're doing and complete the job. Yes, they hired the sporting directors, who I'm coming to next. The sporting director, sometimes you hire people and they let you down. That's life. You either get rid of them and get other people, or you retrain them or redirect them. All this takes time. Yes, it's been 3 seasons. Yes, we're all frustrated. Yes, we want our Chelsea back at the top. Everybody does. But let's, with our anger and our disappointment, not lose our sense
Preach.
of reason.
Preach.
Amen. It is the preaching season right now, so we're in Easter. So that was meant to be a joke.
Amen.
That
Amen.
was meant to
Amen.
be a joke. So listen, what is happening to Chelsea right now is a cocktail of many things. Starting with what happened with us with the new ownership, starting with the fire sale, the fire purchase, and the fact that our new owners themselves are somewhat learning how to navigate their way to the top in a very competitive league with all sorts of different regulations and all sorts of different stipulations that didn't exist during Roman's time. Now, the other thing is the sporting directors. Let's not even go to the other seasons. Let's go to this season. In a mitigation to them, yes, they had to cope with getting rid of players as well as buying players. That's not an easy thing to do. And in that regard, they've done well. They've offloaded a lot of dead wood. And we still have more to offload. But if they are to be blamed for anything, it's not even the project, it's their squad planning at the beginning of the season. The lack of depth, the lack of appropriate players in appropriate positions in order to do adequate rotation. And the fact that they've put too much emphasis on injury prone players, I may take coaches' terms, who work from home all season and basically turn up once in a while part time. We've made them key players without suitable substitutions or rotational options. So that's the other problem. Another problem we've had is, as in a way, Maresca was right. The reason, partly, according to him, he played like he did last night, was he's trying to work on the fitness, or rather the durability
Of two
of
of
the
our most
players.
important players, right?
Exactly. In Palmer coming back from injury, Jackson coming back from injury. That is understandable. What is perhaps a little bit less forgivable is the way in which we keep missing chances. That has to stop, and that's down to the players. Another thing that happens is that in his bid to try and manage the condition of the players, to keep Reece James fit, to play Jackson back to fitness and match sharpness after how many months out, and Palmer as well. He his tactics are a bit odd sometimes anyway. But last night he felt, look, we're 3-0 up. Let's do this dilly dally passing about at the back nonsense. And that was incredibly frustrating to watch, more especially after it was just inviting pressure upon pressure upon pressure. And really, to be honest, he has to, where he takes the 100% blame, because he's putting his goalkeeper, his defense under pressure, whereas the easiest thing and the most obvious thing was a ball over the top. When they're high pressing you, the back is empty, and you've got players fast enough to run in behind and at least go one on one with the keeper. He wasn't doing that, and that was very disappointing. And he was making fantastic players, yet again, quoting what a coach put on X about Josh Achimpong, a Rolls Royce sort of player, but he was getting smothered. He was getting smothered, so he'd lose the ball. Rhys James would lose the ball. Who else? All of them will do some silly pass or the other because of that stupid way of playing. That's down to the coach. It's a cocktail of several things.
Yeah. Here's something
And
that's yeah.
let,
Go
let me
ahead.
just I did ask, let me just finish and I'll soon be quiet. And another thing yet again is the player's condition. This repetitive chronic injuries. Wesley Fofana, one of our key defenders. This guy doesn't give us a month. Doesn't give us a month.
That's
Romeo
too long.
Lavia, since we bought him in the past 3 years, he hasn't given us a
A
month.
month is too
Ro-
long.
well, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
A few
Romeo
minutes.
Lavia, we haven't seen him all since we bought him. He comes on 10 minutes here, half an hour there. He doesn't play 45 minutes, not to mention 90 minutes. He doesn't finish one game before he's gone. These are things that are affecting us. We had months and months and months without Reece James, arguably our best player and captain. We haven't had, for all it's worth, the huge investment we put in for what's his name? Ukrainian kid, Mikhailo Modric.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can't blame the ownership. They've been making investments in playing staff, whether you like it or not. They've been doing their best. They outbid Liverpool for Caicedo. They outbid Liverpool for Lavia. Why are fans so short-sighted and so disorganized because of disappointment? We've got to look at this thing in the full, in the cold light today and the full perspective and target our frustrations to the right area. Now, all I'll say here is number one, I'm scared of playing Fulham because of our current form. But football, you're only as good as your next game. And if we win that, everything could turn around. But all I'll say is look, by that next game, the conditioning of the players is crucial and the tactics of the manager is so important. None of this nonsense of, oh, here, pass it back, goalkeeper. If you play it long, I'll substitute you. BS. Sometimes you got to play it long. Sometimes you got to play it short. You've got to mix it up. He's shown he can do it. He has to keep doing it. And honestly, the players where your responsibility is, there's been a lot of weak shooting. This weakness, you guys know me, I can't stand it. I hate, and I'll use that word, I hate weakness in a team. It doesn't belong in the Premier League. I hate seeing my team getting bullied, pushed around. Look at what Legia Warsaw was doing to us. Although I can't necessarily say that they bullied us, but sometimes 50-50s. Come on. We looked like a bunch of bloody weaklings. You think they're tough? You can imagine what that Swedish side is going to be like. Swedish sides, they're big, tall, strong lads. We've got to get some big guys in there. All this pussyfooting around football. You play Fulham, you see what they're going to do. Big, strong men in the middle, low blocking, counter attack. That's what the formula they think is going to beat Chelsea. Whereas if we're cute, like we were in the second half against Ipswich, accurate shooting from outside the box will tear anybody apart. So listen, it's partly down to Maresca, partly down to the players at this stage. We can't even talk about what the sporting directors did, because what's done's done. You can't change anything in the past in the next 8 to 9 games or whatever it is we have left for the season. It's all what goes on amongst the player coaches and the players themselves, and they've got to sit down and say, right, every game is blood and thunder.
Yeah.
And I'll rest my case.
The toxicity in our fan base is concerning, really. I've seen one match goer um not happy that a section of the fan base was still supporting the team when we were losing, and I was shocked. I think it was Tom Overend that was asking him what is something to the effect of what I interpret to, what is wrong with you? What is the
Right.
essence of the fans in the stadium to support the team when they need them the most?
Coach, honestly,
Coach,
I need to add another thing. Sorry, I've got
yeah,
to. You know,
just
that to me is so unacceptable. And another thing where the owners come in, this is a bit long term. I'm also fed up with the Chelsea pitch owners. Come on, move on. What you did a fantastic thing. Your purpose was way back when, 40 years ago, in the beginning of the 90s, late 80s, when the developers were coming for Chelsea. That era, that period has gone. That stadium, if it cannot be redeveloped, if the owners are so gracious and they keep it maybe for the youth team or the women's team as well, fine. But we need to go or to build a new stadium. We've got to progress. This is modern era football. We are a
and
big club. We
if you
can't, let
love
me
the
let me just
club,
finish this, coach, please.
mhm,
You can't stay as you are. I am sick to death of seeing
preach.
opposition fans looking so prominent at Stamford Bridge. And you go to their stadiums, and where are you? You're up in the sky. The TV cameras, nobody can see you, not to mention hear you. And I know we have to allocate seats, but must they be in a position that is even outshadowing the home crowd? That is madness what we're doing. We need to move forward and develop. And all this, oh, you can't leave Stamford Bridge. Wait, look, you can't love Stamford Bridge more than I do. But there comes a time in life when you've got to progress and you've got to move on. And this nonsense of, oh, let's hold them to ransom. We've got to move. We don't trust them. Ah, get out of here. Well, you don't trust them, yeah? And yet you want to stay small and lose out on financial revenues and then lose the club anyway. Come on. It's crazy. Sometimes our fans are our own worst enemies. And yeah, I said it. And it's high time we said it. Just like that fool that was annoyed at people still singing
Mhm.
for the team when we're losing. What kind of rubbish is that? We've got to snap
Arguing that
out of
they're
this
supporting the
nonsense.
club.
Oh, it's crazy. We've got to snap out of this. We've got to be forward thinking. You can't be so stuck in the past that you're stuck in the mud. I'm sorry. No, no. Time to move on. If, please God, we can get Earl's Court, let's do it. Goodness me, what the? And we won't, they'll probably keep playing at the bridge while they develop somewhere else and then move on. And then probably they might keep the bridge, just like Real Madrid did. They had their stadium, they moved on to the modern Bernabeu, and they still play in that old stadium. They used it during COVID, and I think their youth team plays there. Look, we've,
Yeah.
we've got to be forward thinking.
Yeah,
We're just so, I don't know. It's like we're pulling the club back for stupid sentiments.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to get that out there.
unfortunately, Bobby, I want to eat what you ate before you join us. The,
No, listen, I'm as
the
frustrated as
energy,
everybody.
Bobby brought brought onto this panel. I want to have that sort of energy, and I appreciate your honesty there. We've talked about in a few minutes. Bobby talked about 1,000 things that are very important. The Chelsea pitch owners, they just unnecessarily holding the club to ransom. If you really do care about the club, if you really do care about the club, you should be for the club's progress. And the most important being allowing the club to move on, build a bigger stadium that befits the club's status as one of the biggest clubs in England. And clearly, they're making it clear they don't want to do it because of the Americans. And imagine how some people will interpret that. And I don't think that's okay. And going back to what I was saying before, Bobby, you can say interjected and started speaking about that. Again, went on to that fiery speech. Here's the thing: you're called supporters for a reason. You're called the 12th man for a reason. And when the club, the team needs you the most is when they are in distress, when they are struggling, when they are losing. If you only support your team when they're winning, then it's simple. You're a fair weather fan.
Coach, please, you've said one more thing that really, really has triggers me. We have all this mandy pamby wearing different colors, getting on one knee, and all these virtue signaling hypocrisy. And yet fans are getting their knickers in a twist because we're owned by Americans. Is that not discrimination? Come on, we've got to stop this. We have to stop this. What makes you think that people will put 1.5 billion into playing staff? Not even buying what they spent buying the club and all the other things they do. They bought land, bought this, bought that, all the financial wizardry they're doing to keep us going. What makes you think they don't have the best interest in the club of the club at heart? What makes you think they've come all the way from the United States to destroy a British and English sporting institution that is 120 years old in Chelsea, in the choice location in West London? Come on. Sorry,
And in the
please.
process, lose billions.
yeah.
Yeah, come on. There's a lot of people that aren't thinking, man. I don't want to become too insultive.
No, my favorite is they're not here to win. They're just here to make profit. Make profit by selling how many players, and how many players would they sell to even break even in the first place before making a profit? They spent 4 point something billion pounds to buy the club. Make profit. Football is a result-driven business. Without wins, you cannot make profit. Without winning, you cannot attract big name sponsors.
Do you know what,
It's
Coach?
really that simple, but they
And
don't
the,
want to think
and
about
these
see it
people
that way.
And these people can't think that, oh, maybe these guys are here to set up a conglomeracy. They're talking about other clubs. They're talking of expansion, not retraction and robbery. They want a franchise, and a franchise to become a legacy franchise, to be here permanently under the Blue Co auspices. What are you thinking? It shows that people have such small minds such little minor minds that they think, oh, they're coming to do this, they're coming to do. Okay, if they go away, who else is you gonna get? Get someone else in and see what they do.
Get the right
Listen,
life.
I don't want to get angry.
Very-
I'm really upset.
Yeah, yeah. Big up to Todd Bowley in big up. He says, "I love you guys. Yeah, we love you, but send us a big striker. What about it?
And we're not giving you our mailing address.
Yeah, we're not doing that. And also big up to Rich Moneymakers
Rich money
watching on X. Says,
makers.
big up the big up the legend and the sporting directors and the sporting director myself no need to get an 18-year-old to take his place. When senior investors have said he isn't ready and sporting director love who? Robert Sanchez, but the investors want Petrovic back. Good speech by Bobby, but the sporting directors now are starting to get up my back, and the sporting directors are worst sporting directors in the world. Big up, bro, big up. And Todd Bowley again, he says this, Todd Bowley, stop butchering us.
Don't forget the
Oh,
tie
man.
is here before he starts a riot. You know how he behaves.
Yeah.
You
I'm
see
going
his
to
face is
go to
already
Thailand.
changing. He's frowning already. He's looking.
So Todd Bowley
He's
says,
about to
I
put
want to buy
someone.
that. Ted Bull said, "I want to buy that tower. I want to buy that tower with big watch
He knows
hang
where to go.
on."
Let
Oh
him
man,
help. Look, Mr. Bolly, we're here to discuss our club. I know you're the owner, but please give us a break so that we can be serious. Tabo, please, Ty is
yeah,
waiting. I don't like his face.
yeah. Also, before before we go to Thai, if you're watching YouTube, if you subscribe to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're watching X, if you subscribe to the channel, make sure you come on YouTube, subscribe, and you can still watch on X. Big up Thai. How are you, bro? And then what are your thoughts about last night's game and everything that you are talking about currently? We can
No,
hear you,
it takes
bro.
him like 15 minutes to unmute.
I'm trying to alleviate my background noise, so that's why. Um, yeah, I was just here listening. I was just here listening to what Bobby was saying, and I don't know.
Ty, why the suspense? We're listening.
Thai? Maybe it's
Right. So
because of his back. Okay, go ahead, bro.
uh, the, I don't know if I don't know if you hear my background.
No, no, I
That's
think
just
your
my
voice is
concern.
fine. Ty,
My background
your
is
sound is good. It's excellent.
okay. Okay. Right. So yeah, I mean, Bobby said a lot of things. Coach said that I was frowning, and I was trying to be very serious, and then Bobby said a few things that made me start laughing, so I couldn't keep my serious face. Um, but man, uh, yeah, I don't know the match against Ligia, it did things to me, man. You know, I had an experience of what you call if you don't laugh, you cry. Then seeing the Ligia Warsaw fans in the stands jumping and shirtless, it made me laugh. It was like, I commented it on X. I think Bobby was in the chain of tweets about the fact that I felt like I was watching Comedy Central. The penalty that they got, the way how Jurgensen tried to stop it, and his hand hits the ball, I just go straight past. It's like I was watching
It
Comedy
was like
Central,
he
and
pushed
then
it
just
into the
seeing
net,
the fans
actually.
just, yeah, and just seeing Ligia Warsaw fans just jumping and singing and singing in Polish and shirtless. It was just hilarious. And then the fact that they wanted to get another, and there was free kicks given away, and it was just it's about who can stat pad. But man, I don't know. It was a very embarrassing match. I genuinely thought that they were gonna come back and we probably have to go to extra time because it was just one from one half of the pitch to the next. We attack, they attack. We attack, they attack. Quick movement back to one half to the next half to the next half. That's all that was going on. It was a thing, but it was also depressing to. And this is no offense to Ligia Warsaw. I've been seeing this for the past 24 hours. They're a very um rich history club. They've won the most titles in their league as well. So historically they are the greatest or one of the greatest Polish sides. So I mean, it's only a recent times and the COVID period that they've really dropped off. They've been a team that won record most titles in the league. So in terms of that, the way that they're playing, the fact that they don't really have well-known players is the only deficiency that they would have in terms of being respected. But the way that they were playing and how they were just getting through the team was concerning to me because the starting 11 was very strong. I was concerned about certain players starting. Cole Palmer was one of them, and then the whole tackle that they did on him and then he was limping after, it was concerning to me. So I was saying, okay, we just got back Cole Palmer. Was this a match that he should have been playing in? I don't think he needed to play in the match, but he tried. It was just that we couldn't score goals. But by looking at the stats, it's not like we didn't try or we didn't do anything. We did. It's just a matter of it just didn't go the way that. Well, we didn't win on the night or the on the day. So that's just the reality.
And Ty, quickly,
But
Ty,
it
let me
just
ask you
it just is
this.
what it is.
Let me ask you this, Ty.
Yeah.
What do you make of Cole Palmer's attempt, that first goal scoring opportunity we had in that game? It just seemed as if to me, he was so nonchalant. You could say maybe even before he kicked the ball, he counted it as a goal. Because last season, he will use that opportunity to score 3 goals. So clearly, confidence is his biggest problem right now. But I'm not too concerned, and I'm happy that a legend such as Gary Cahill came out and said when he was asked if he was surprised in about Cole Palmer's deep in front, he said no, that is expected of a player that's of his age. But unfortunately, for majority of our fans, it is Maresca's fault. But go ahead, let's hear you.
Well, that's a very interesting point. Um, the thing is, yeah, that attempt is playing over in my head now because I just keep seeing how poor of attempt it was over. I just keep replaying how it just goes. It doesn't even go on target. It just goes straight past the goal. Um, yeah, and that is one thing. And the fact that Gary Cahill said that it is true. That is the reality in terms of finishing. Um, yeah, that it's bound to happen. I think, and as you just touched on as well, I think the fact that he would have had such an outstanding season, people tend to forget that he's a very young player. He's still learning. Um, and even last season, there was a lot of imperfections in what he was doing. It was just that he was scoring goals, so that kind of made it look as good. But there was instances where he even missed chances. Just that the misses are the misses, the missed attempts are it's more than the amount of goals that was scored. But even his stats aren't bad because at this juncture, his numbers weren't that bad because he still has a good his goal and assist ratio is still very good. I think he's around what five goals or something like that behind where he was at this point last season. So I don't think it's that bad. It's just that, at a time where your attackers aren't scoring goals, and the fact that Cole Palmer was the saving grace last season, a lot of people believe that he should be the one that gets the goods, and he's not. So that's the thing. But yeah, that to me, it goes without saying, and I think we've had this discussion in the past. I think on a Blue Alliance / Chelsea Alliance show as well, we talked, or probably was a pre-match show. I don't know what it was, about the fact that it could be a case where he is having a dip in form due to confidence, and that is, it's not just a blip. And I think it is. And I think you mentioned it as well. That he's the fact that he went on Instagram when he was posting about this was the I don't know what the caption was, something about good times, or some, there was some smile emoji and all of that. It shows that the Chelsea account posted it, and he was reminiscent on, or
They
reminiscing on
tagged him.
on what he did last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he reacted, and the way that, and what he put, if it was just if he had just posted it without any caption, it wouldn't be that bad, because fine, he tagged him, so he's acknowledging it. But what he said in the caption, and then with the smile, he's looking back and saying that, okay, this is what happened last season. And the thing is, body language, facial expression you have seen with him, you can see that, and he's not the only one. You can see that it's getting to him, and each time that he misses, his reaction after, it shows, because he's a young player, and young players are easily affected by not scoring goals in over 10 games. That's not a good thing for these players, because they want to be scoring. And with Cole Palmer's situation being that he was the talisman, he was the top goal scorer, the top assist maker, and all of that, he's going to believe that this is what he should be doing, and he's letting down the team. And he even said things in the past about, I'm happy when the team won and he didn't score, he's saying, I'm happy that the team won,
At least
but
he's
I'll be back.
creating
And
chances
because
now.
yeah, and that's the thing, he is great. It's not like he's not doing anything at all, and his passes are going into row Z, or nothing's going on. He's creating opportunities, and his teammates have let him down. So it's not like he's not doing anything to compensate for not scoring. He's creating, he's making opportunities be made, but it's just that nothing's coming from them. But I think before the end of the season, he will get a goal or two. But I don't know. I just think that the whole thing with him also playing with injections, and the fact that he hasn't gotten surgery, he's taking injections for the injury that he's had, that doesn't help things also, because he's gonna have it at the back of his mind. I don't want to get injured. I have to be cautious, because teams are going to be targeting me, because I have proven to be a key player for Chelsea. So all of that is things to consider as well.
Yeah, I think you made a good point with regards to how we shouldn't forget that teams are targeting him. If you see, they nearly broke his leg yesterday. Look, he will eventually regain rediscover his form. The moment the next one goes in, I think the rest will be history. And something else you talked about, Ty. These young players, they live on, so they leave. You could say. mm, uh, they are almost always on social media, reading everything that's been said about them, and their feelings get hurt easily. Even adults,
Yeah, Obi Mikel said that.
yeah, feelings of adults that get hurt. Adults that are fans, actually, they don't get the measure of pressure these players face. Fans as individual, when we lose game, draw a game, or play badly, they lose their shit, like Bobby would like to say it. But these players, they face pressure from millions of people around the world saying nonsense about them. Imagine that. But unfortunately, our fans don't realize that it gets to them. Today, I'm going to let you continue. Let's move on to some of our items we have lined up and get done as soon as possible. Hopefully, Bobby will, as soon as he can, give me, you can say, share with me what he ate before he joined us. It looks like Tabejo is off. Okay, he's back on. I'm waiting.
Can you hear me now?
Crystal clear, bro.
Oh, sorry about it. You know the drill. Anyway, this is the Enzo Maresca played Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer. It says they have to score goals just a moment that they need to tweet that moment. Cole scored 14 goals in 20 Premier League games, so he scored goals. Nico was the same before the injury.
And the 20
So
goals he scored
10
already were all scored under Carlo Ancelotti, right? So still, Maresca broke him.
Carlo Ancelotti.
You get my point. I'm being sarcastic there. They're saying Maresca broke him, but how many goals has he scored under Maresca?
14 goals. I think it's 9 assists.
Exactly.
Also. So she is not that bad. But
Why you're tapping in on me? You're tapping in on me, Tobago.
Tapping is what we do. Teamwork, right? Just make sure the ball goes into the net.
before we go to the match preview, what about Lavia? What are your thoughts about Lavia, guys? Do you think we should trust Lavia from now until the end of the season? Because we keep on saying the same thing over and over again with Lavia. Fantastic player, but again, injuries, man, are hitting him and our team progressing further. So what are your thoughts about that, Bobby? Bobby?
Yeah,
Oh, Ty?
sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was trying to unmute and didn't realize I was missing the button. Uh, Romeo Lavia. I've got to say, I'm frustrated. Yes, players, it's not their fault if they're injured. But the frustrating side of it is that when a player doesn't seem to be able to get over his injuries, you start to wonder whether that player is truthfully suitable for the level of competition that being a top flight Premier League player is going to require. You know, these guys really, for I would say a good 10 years of their career, are going to be playing maybe about 3 times a week on average, especially if they become internationals and are good players. It's relentless. And then when I think of people like Lionel Messi, who barely missed a game for club and country, and they play all manner of games. And I think of people like Cristiano Ronaldo, the same thing, who are at the peak of football and who are targeted, kicked, you know, and they manage to stay fit because they are so focused on their bodies and their craft. It kind of gives you a little bit of disappointment in the outcomes of people like Lavia and Fofana, and to a lesser extent now Reece James. Now, is that an unfair assessment? Maybe. But honestly, you know, another thing that really frustrates me is that if tomorrow these guys are fit for 5 minutes and they find themselves in a rotational situation, they will be the first to complain. Whereas, what do you expect? You're not giving us a month in a season. How can we not have a rotational option to you? You know, prove to us that you can play game in, game out for a season, then we'll look again. But as it is, you're a benchman. You've got to be. You're squad depth. Seriously. And so Romeo Lavia, who now, in the second season since we bought him, has not even played, what, half an hour? In a game, it's disappointing. It really is, and it needs to change. I don't know what the injury is. I don't know what his current condition is, but it needs to change, not just for the sake of Chelsea, but for the sake of his career. He's still a very young man in a career that is very physically demanding, and he doesn't seem up to it. That's all I have to say about him.
Yeah,
Let's
I
wait and
miss.
see.
I miss Monster FC. His favorite line uh, whenever he's discussing players that are injury prone is availability is the best ability, and I couldn't say it any better. Um, Here's the thing: the players in question, they are good players. Uh,
Yes.
should I trust them? No, I'm not going to trust them. They have to give me a reason to trust them. Even Reece James, I still don't trust them to finish the season fit because the
Mm.
manager, for a reason, has used him sparingly. But I get it. Outside the world must always complain how the manager doesn't play him in the right back position, allow him to overlap, yada yada yada. And chances are, had the manager opted to play him in the right back position and allow him to overlap, underlap, and everything, I think probably he'd be again on the sidelines again. So I trust them as players, as good as they. That is the good their ability as footballers. I trust them. But do I trust them to be available and help us achieve our goals? No, until proven otherwise. And I don't see anything wrong in that. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. So, okay, let's read Thais. Mr. says, TB, you are contradicting yourself here.
Okay, he's
So
fighting
you
with
told me,
Bali, right?
okay. So, anyway, Coach, let's go to the inside of the game on Sunday because I won't be able to do a stream tomorrow. So I thought we'd talk about the game today.
All right.
So, okay, Ty is back
Let's look
now.
at the insights. And by the way, in recent years, even though we're still have been getting the better of them, but I think the games have become tighter and tighter every year. I think even Marco Silva did say that during his a pregame interview, his presser. Um, they're looking to do a double over us for the first time in 40 meetings, I think, in total in the Premier League. That number might be wrong, but the truth remains they're looking to do a double over us. And for me, that's a huge, huge motivation for them. And listen, one more thing again, the pattern of their form got me concerning, but I've looked at the pattern again because I
Mhm.
saw something on X that suggests what they've been doing is that they lose one game, either they lose one, they win one, they lose one, they win one, or there's a pattern, a constant pattern. But I looked at it, I think it broke somewhere in a few games ago, actually. They've been shocking. They beat Liverpool and they beat Tottenham, but they lost at home a 3-0 to was it Crystal Palace. But that's, by the way, my point is they are looking to do a double over us, and that's a huge motivation to them. You don't underestimate them. And Marco Silva, he is a very, very smart tactician. But I think we can beat them, and I believe we're beating them. And I'm going to say that before I even start reading the stats here. I'm going to say this quickly. My research showed that they scored 6 goals in total, and we scored 7 in total in our last 5 games. And in that case, I think they've lost 3 games in total, and we lost just 2 or 1 or something like that. But we scored more, and they conceded a lot. So for me, those 2 factors are signs that we will beat them on the day. But football, you cannot script football. You just cannot script football. Numbers tell us what they tell us, but the truth remains on the day. It's up to the players to show that they want to win it. So let's read the insights. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No, 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 no.
Okay, the insights. The first one here reads: Fulham are looking to complete the league double over Chelsea for the very first time in what is the 40th different league campaign which they've met. Different, okay, 40th different league campaigns, not 40th time. So they're looking to do the first double on us. I hope that doesn't happen. That would be another record that Maresca breaks. And the second insights item here reads: Chelsea have won 5 of their last 6 Premier League away games against Fulham, with the exception being a 2-1 loss in January of 2023. So even though the games are against them have started to become tighter and tighter, we're still getting the better of them. The item number 3 in the insights reads: Fulham have won 2 of their last 5 league games against Chelsea. They drew 1, lost 2, more than they had in their previous 35 games against the Blues. Again, that highlights what I just said. We're still getting the better out of Fulham, but the games are becoming tighter and tighter. I hope we just keep saying it's becoming tighter, but still beat them. The fourth item on the insights list reads: This will be Fulham's 4th ever league game played on Easter Sunday. They beat Manchester City in 2009 and Wigan in 2010 before a 3-1 defeat to Aston Villa in 2021. So it's a good thing. They had, you can say, Easter Sunday had been their lucky charm until they met Aston Villa in 2021. So you cannot say, yeah, it doesn't look good for us because Aston Villa put a halt to their uh, Easter Sunday lucky charm. The fifth item reads: um, having beaten Arsenal 2-1 in their first ever league game played on Easter Sunday in 2008, Chelsea have now lost their last 2 on this day. So we've lost our last 2 games on Easter Sunday. I mean, if you're superstitious, that'd be a concerning mention too. And also 0-2 to Manchester United in 2017 and 1-3 to Tottenham in 2018, but both are home games. So even if you're superstitious and you want a copium, you can see it from the perspective that we're playing away. So a lot of the factors that we've looked at here suggest that we are we're gonna get a win. But again, I'm gonna go back to telling people that in all honesty, you cannot script football, irrespective of what the statistics are. If you prefer numbers, what they tell us, uh, you just cannot script football. It's played over 90 minutes,
And
come out on top, and that's why you have the term underdogs. So that's it. I'm gonna look. I don't know how soon it will load. Tabeho, you there?
okay, can you hear me? Yes, I'm
Yeah,
here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So let me try and look at the insights from Mob. Maybe whether they tell us anything different tomorrow and then the day after, which is on Sunday. One
Yeah.
second there. It's taking too much time. But go ahead. You can be speaking while you wait for me to be ready to read what we
Yeah.
see there.
Oh, yeah. 2 things I'm worried about for that game, right? First thing, our away record at the moment is bad, right? Another thing, we're playing on Sunday, and most teams will play tomorrow, and then they might win their games, and then will be still far behind those teams. For example, and we don't win on Sunday, top 5, top 4, it's over. So that's another thing. And then we're going
Here's why
play under pressure.
I want to see it. Yeah, exactly. I want to see it from the perspective but let me do a tap in on you there. I want to see it from the perspective of the sort of pressure that our players, young players, young team, if you prefer, will be under. If those teams also vying for a place in the top four, I think you made an excellent point. If they win their games, then on Sunday, our young side will be playing with a lot of pressure, and I think that's an issue. You could see, I think the last for last week, last week's game, you can see that the pressure actually got to them. A lot of half-baked passes, clear-cut chances. We weren't actually showing that. Yeah, we were playing with what's the language I'm looking for? I sense nervousness from the players, because we were playing with the pressure, knowing that if that game ends in a draw or if we lose, we're not going to get back into top four. So you did make an excellent point, because a lot of the games will be played tomorrow. If those are vying for a place in the top four or top five, because top five now, and thanks to Arsenal, but even at that, I don't want them to win the Champions League. So if if they win their games, then we will be playing with a lot of pressure, and that's an issue. So quickly, let me cover these items I have here. For Fulham, they have Harry Wilson out injured. The language there, the status of his injury is doubtful, so which means that chances are he'd be available for selection. Reece Nelson will not be available until early May. And for us, Gabriel Slonina, probably no need to even read his status there. Mark Gui, maybe. Is it Mark Guy? He said, yeah, I did. Mark Guy will be available early May. We have Omari Kellyman, yeah. And then Wesley Fofana out for the rest of the season, both. And team form, in 5 games, we've lost 1, drew 2, won 2. And I'm still saying we had the opportunity to beat Brentford, even to beat Ipswich now, but we weren't clinical in front of goal. And for them, in 5 games, they've lost 3, won 2. And let's look at goal concession. In that 5 games, they've conceded how many goals there? 3, 5, 7. They've conceded 8 goals in total, and they scored 6. I think I've looked at that before. For us, we in 5 games we've conceded 2, 4, and that's it. So they've conceded a lot more than us, and they've scored 1 less than us. So for me, that's a good sign. If the numbers, you could say, remain constant on that day, but you just cannot script football, I think we're going to beat them by a slim margin. But I'm not going to be surprised if the game turns out to be a goal fest game sort of game, because you just cannot script football. For their own insights, Fulham, they've scored 6 goals in their last 5 games, and we've scored 7. Yeah, I've looked at that before, so that was why I remembered. Fulham and Chelsea have not drawn any of their last 4 matches, so which suggests that most likely there's going to be a winner. The question now is, who will be the winner? I don't know. Alex Iwobi, he's one of their best players, in my opinion. Excellent creator, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, in my opinion. Cole Palmer is ranked as second in big chances created in the competition. Cole Palmer has created the most big chances for Chelsea, and I'm guessing he created 20 big chances for us, and we missed 25 big chances, if you get my point. But that's fine. That's it for the inside from me, from my end. Over to you, Tebejo.
Yeah, before we continue, Tedball scouts are asking me to buy Onana. He's available as a free bonus with Garnacho. What do you fans think about
Onana?
This deal?
Get premium Onana. The one that that makes a lot more mistake than the basic Onana. That's what we need.
Yeah. So let's start from Ty and then Bobby. So Ty, what are your thoughts against Fulham? Do you think we beat them on Sunday? Ty?
something I want to say
Seems
on
like
something
Ty.
Bobby keeps speaking until he wants to speak. Here's the sort of game that this will be from a tactical perspective. We will dominate possession, uh, but one thing we must do against Fulham is to play with great balance, not just good balance, great balance. What do I mean by that? We have to be defensively cautious because they have very pacey players. And Marco Silva is a very smart manager. If we play against them and risk a lot defensively, the slightest of spaces they find in behind, they will exploit it effectively. And you could argue whether they've been potent or not. On that day, they will be very potent because they're playing against Chelsea, whether they've been potent in front of goal or not. So we need to play with great balance. As much as I like us to attack them and score goals, at the same time, we have to be defensively cautious and, more importantly, take our chances. We cannot afford not to take our chances. I don't want to experience that. So it's going to be a game where we dominate possession, create a lot of chances. But the question is, are we going to take our chances? Hopefully, Ty has found a way to unmute his phone.
Ty, go ahead. Yeah, it seems like Ty is having signal issues, just like me in South Africa.
Yeah, Ty is using Walmart level internet connection like Dante.
Yeah, says his laptop is freezing up. So, Bobby, what are your thoughts about this game?
You know, um, circumstances, suppositions, past histories, they all make for good conversation. But in truth, in football, you're only as good as your next game. It's as simple as that. Honestly, there's nothing special about Fulham. Fulham, why we're just scared is that they're more physical. Their games against us have always been play low block, wait for a fast break, and score, the sort of thing Brentford do. And the last time we fell for it, and it's up to us not to fall for it. It's as simple as that. Although, when I say as simple as that, it's as straightforward as that. You take your chances and you put them away. Trouble is, we've been huffing and puffing when we go to these teams. They build in confidence, then they take an opportunity and know that if they low block, they can frustrate us because all we're going to do is keep trying to pass the ball into the net. Ultimately, it comes back to what I said at the beginning of the conversation. Maresca has to change his tactics. He has to change his tactics. He's got to, if the ball is in our half and we're luring them in, and they're high pressing, you play the ball over the top. You keep them turning, you keep them running, you keep them expanded, and you will break them. But if you keep trying to play tiki-taka that you don't even know how to play, they're just going to go back, organize, and wait for you, which has been the Chelsea weakness. They're beatable, even at Craven Cottage, but not the way we've been playing. We play like we did, certainly against Legia Warsaw, and it's just not going to be funny. But if we expand our play like we can do and press and mix it up, and certainly add shooting outside the box, they could be in for some problems, really. So we just have, yet again, which Chelsea will we see? Time will tell. The unfortunate thing for me tomorrow, I've got quite a busy afternoon. I've got lunch to meet up with, and so I don't know whether I'll be back in time. I mean, not tomorrow, on Sunday, but we'll see. We'll see.
Bobby, what do you
It's
make of my argument that we need to play with great balance? As much as it's a good thing for us to attack them, try to pressure them and score goals, we must be defensively cautious. Otherwise, they will exploit that.
Yeah, it's terminology, isn't it? You've said it like that, and I've said it like, he has to mix it up. All of which is balance, as you say. You have to be balanced. You can't just keep trying to play tiki taka with the ball at the back, and when you go forward, is tiki taka try and walk the ball into the net. They're just going to sit and wait for you. This is an age-old English Premier League tactic. There's nothing new there. There's nothing new. Throw your body in front of the ball, fist pump every time you clear the ball, all that sort of nonsense. That's what they're going to be hoping for. Whereas if you lure them in, ball over the top, you come with good wing play. Yes, you're defensively sound, but sometimes the measure of your offense is the measure of your defense. If you score once or twice, you've already rattled them. They don't have confidence. They approach you with caution and open themselves more, or they become desperate and start thrashing out, and then they're all open at the back more. It's about being smart, being disciplined, and being clinical. Are
And
we
take your
capable
chances
of
when
that?
they come.
That's being clinical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
Are we
understand. Yeah,
capable of?
take your chances when they come. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you will end up hearing 700 chances, shots, and no goal.
We're
And
we're
yeah,
sick of that. We're
yeah.
sick of that. We're sick of Jackson missing chances. We're sick of Nkunku now missing chances. Even Cole Palmer. Yeah, we know a little bit of effect on his confidence. Yeah, he's young, but he's a professional top flight footballer. You train every day. You're not there to let your head
mm,
drop at every little problem you have. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and you score. One thing I have to say about one player we've had in recent times at Chelsea, Timo Werner. Bless him. Timo Werner couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. He's a terrible finish. He really is. But Timo Werner, if there's one thing you'll never take away from that kid, who's a grown man now, is he never stops trying.
His work
Timo
rate.
Werner will miss a million times, but the way he missed the first time will not be any different between to the way he missed the last time. His energy is the same. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Now, Cole Palmer is a finisher. He just has to keep the same energy. Yeah, he missed a couple here and there. The only excuse he could possibly have is that still nursing an injury. Okay, that will affect you. But his mentality shouldn't change. Because if your mentality changes, that means you're not a top flight player. You will never be a world class player if you don't have the right mentality. Yet again, I'll give the Stalin example. There are many, many others, but let's give the sort of Ballon d'Or examples. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, their mentality is impeccable. Impeccable. They look for perfection even on the training field. They push and push and push. That's why they were the best. You will never be the best if
No
your head
achievement is
drops.
enough.
Yeah. In sport, you will never be the best if your head drops. So my message and each of those players were like that when they were 16, 17, 18 years old, when they
Mhm.
were breaking into the first team. We all remember Cristiano Ronaldo when he first came to Man United and his silly stepovers after stepovers, falling on his feet like Bambi on ice. But he kept going, he kept going, he kept going, he kept going, game after game after game, and improved himself. So Cole Palmer, sorry, but your loss of form is no excuse for your head to drop. None. None whatsoever. I don't want to see that. You can miss chances. It's frustrating. Go again. It's frustrating. Go again. Keep going for as many. You could be doing that forever as long as you're on that pitch. But don't give up. That's the one thing I don't want to see from him because that
Well,
means
if,
he
if you don't
doesn't have
mind,
the mentality for elite football. Okay,
yeah, there's something Bobby highlighted that is very difficult to see. Yes, he's experiencing a poor run of form, but he drops his head. He sulks, and that makes it difficult. In the case of Timo Werner, he never sulked, even in those periods where he was missing chances, he was experiencing goal drought. You'd see that he's still trying harder. It wasn't for lack of effort. It was just that he was poor at it. But in Cole Palmer's case, I think he's letting the poor form get the best out of him.
Exactly. And I don't want to see that,
Yeah.
because what that means is that you're not an elite player.
Yeah.
You can never be an elite player if you let that happen to you. You're just going to be bang average, because elite players never watch any game where Cristiano, he misses a chance. Even now, he's so angry with himself and he goes back even harder. It is non-stop. Lionel Messi, the same thing. He fights and fights and fights and fights. Look at how he was when Argentina won the first Copa America. He was totally drained with emotion. Why? Because he had given everything to the team to do that, not to mention when they won the World Cup. These are winners. So if we keep seeing Cole Palmer because he's missed here and he's missed there and his head dropped, then I'm sorry, he's not a winner. He's not an elite player. He's got to stop that. He's like, okay, fine. He's angry with himself. He becomes even more focused, even more determined. He blots everything out. That's a winner. Same thing with Jackson. I don't want to see all this, woe is me. What is that? Well, why are you there? Why are you there? Okay, shit happens. Get on with it. That's all. That's why Chelsea fans always, always supported Timo Werner. And boy, did that guy miss chances. My goodness me. I don't think since Paul Furlong have we had a player miss chances so much. You know what I mean? Not since Paul Furlong. But this guy, or Robert Fleck, that was another one. But this guy
Or
never
maybe Ayemini in
stopped.
the World Cup
It, it,
when
it,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Torres, remember, he was scoring his goal for fun at Liverpool, and then he come to Chelsea. He was missing left and right. Fernando
Yeah.
Torres,
but he didn't miss the sort of
But
goals that Timo Werner missed. Timo Werner
yes,
will
no.
get one chance and
Oh,
miss 10 chances.
Timo. Even open goals, he would just, Timo Werner. But the crowd encouraged him because he never stopped. And to be fair, Fernando Torres, post injury, he couldn't hit the barn door with a banjo either. But his head never dropped.
No, he
You
didn't.
never saw Fernando Torres, and fans would heckle him. After a while, fans became on his side. We can see a trier. You know what I mean? Now, fans will always support um, Cole Palmer because of what he did last season, and as a young English player, we are behind him. But he's got to stop dropping his head. He has to stop that. Because then, if he does that till the end of the season, then things, if they're not going well, maybe next season he's still doing that, fans will just turn on him. Because that's not a winning mentality. So that's the only criticism I have of him. Okay, it's not okay, but shit happens. Get on with it. Try harder, try harder. Keep going, sharpen your technique. Another one, Frank Lampard. When Lampard started, they used to call him fat. They used to say he was this, he was that. Frank Lampard would stay after training, practicing his technique, his free kicks, all these things, because he didn't want the rest of the players to make him feel that because he's the manager's nephew, that he had any special favors. Look at the kind of player he turned up. Lampard wouldn't give up. He sharpened his craft till he became up there with the elite. Didier Drogba,
When
when he
he
first
emerged,
came
he
to
wasn't the
Chelsea,
most technically gifted. It was hard work,
yeah,
dedication,
Mm.
yeah, and mentality that
mentality.
defined. Yeah,
The best in the world are the mentality monsters. The mentality monsters. Didier Drogba, my goodness, put that guy in front of a high pressure game. That's when he comes alive. Mentality. Didier, bring it on. He's there. Wow. Is it a Champions League final? Wow, that's what he loves. He loves it. The pressure. It's a winner. It's a winner. So, Cole Palmer, we're not having that. Don't drop your head. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, Tobias, what else do we have to cover before we call it a day? Are you still there? Is it gone? We've looked at the insights, and my prediction is that I think we'll edge it by a goal. It will be a slim margin. I don't see us losing that game. Just as I said, I don't see us losing that game against Ipswich Town. That the worst result I think we could get from that game would be a draw. But yeah, Tobias, where are you? So we can round off. I think we've covered pretty much everything. I don't know if you have anything else you'd like us in mind that you'd like us to cover.
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, crystal clear.
Yeah, I just want to check Ty's opinion about this game. Ty, are you back?
I was gonna ask Ty if he knows. He's very analytical. Whether he knows very well how Fulham, how they like to play, how they applies themselves on the pitch. Managers do change. I know. What's his name? Silva is a very talented manager and can exploit the weaknesses of the opposition teams. But Ty, if you want to educate us on how they play, this is how they played so far this season, and what sort of game to expect, that would be fine.
Are you able to hear me? Because
Yeah,
Crystal clear.
I know I'm a forgettable. I know I'm a forgettable person, so nobody remember that I had said nothing about the match. Um, but yeah, uh, Marcus Silva sets up his team a certain way, which most of the time, and obviously this is a given. The way that he will play, it depends on the opponent. So, the last time we know what happened, they sat back, they waited until we made mistakes, and then they pounced on it, and that's how they were able to win 2-1. So I mean, given what he said, because I suppose he looked at what Maresca said after the game yesterday. Yeah, he's about the remaining 8 games being finals. Uh, he 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 echoed the exact same thing and said it's well this match is also a final for us. It's a final for us too. And we'll be ready for the match, and we'll be coming with fight. So I believe that given what he said there, I think they will mix it up. I think they will be deep, but at the same time, they're not going to shy away. And I think they'll replicate what Ipswich did as well. Ipswich didn't just sit back. They actually they went for the match at times. And they sat back at different intervals, but they ensure that they still presented themselves, because at the end of the day, and obviously Ipswich and Fulham are two different things. Ipswich are trying to not get relegated, but it looks most likely that they're going to get relegated. So they're going with fight. They're going to come with a lot of grit, and trying to get that double, as you would have shared with the insight. So I think with Marco Silva's flexibility and trying to match the opponents depending on what happens, I think it depends on how Chelsea starts. And based on how Chelsea start, he will decide on if they should, in terms of trying to match us in energy, and trying to do quick movement football, or if you just sit back and just wait for a mistake to occur, which if it's minimal, then that probably will be a bad approach for him to use. But if that is the case, maybe then he may say that, okay, let's be highly physical and try to win the ball off them, and try to find the weaknesses in their defense or midfield.
Thank you. Right, that's
yeah.
excellent. I knew
One,
I'd get a
one,
very good explanation from you because it's your thing.
yeah, and I want to put that on the spot, but before putting on a quote from Marco Silva, says it's a final for us too. We have our goals to fight for. So Ty,
Exactly. Right. Basically what I said.
Ty,
Yeah.
okay. So Ty, if Chelsea were about to sack Enzo Maresca, would you mind giving Marco Silva at Chelsea?
That is a very complex question. Um, Personally, um, I don't think the players that we have would suit him. Uh, the whole thing with flexibility and trying to match the opponents, that sounds beautiful on paper, but at the same time, the options that any manager that you replace Maresca with, you have to ensure that the players that we have would accommodate them, because because that's the situation, and that is why, as much as I would have said that, I've given up on Maresca, which I'm going to be honest about. um I've said numerous times, and even last Sunday, that I believe that for this current situation with these players, he's the better option, or the profile of who he is, or the personality that he is. It suits the current squad, because he will be able to maneuver and try to find ways of trying to keep the team unified. Although that last part is probably debatable, given what has happened over the past 24 hours. But Marco Silva, I'm not too sure about, because I don't think a lot of these players are able to. I'm not saying that none of the players would suit him. There's a lot of them that would, but in terms of the balance, it wouldn't be there, because there's certain players that he would not like, because they're some of them are direct, some of them are touchline wingers, or love to hug the flags, and and he likes to play direct at times. So I'm not too sure about how that would really work out, unless you get rid of those players, which right now wouldn't make any sense. So no to Marco Silva, but he's a good tactical man. I'll give him that.
I'm just gonna say, you see all those managers that people are mentioning, Marco Silva, the Bournemouth manager, former Liverpool player, the coach of the German team, was his name, Alonso. What's the name of his club? But that's by the way. Until they
Joby
become
Alonso.
Chelsea manager, Xabi Alonso, yeah, all of them. Forget what you're seeing until they become Chelsea manager.
Ty,
Look at
can you
how
kindly mute your mic when you're not talking?
look at how Potter lost it the moment he joined Chelsea. He couldn't handle it. Even Pochettino lost it. So those names, Marco Silva himself, yeah, he's doing well. But the moment he becomes Chelsea manager, it's a different ballgame altogether. There's no guarantee he'd be able to handle the pressure or even do well.
Hmm.
So I'm not buying. I'm not going to say sign a certain manager from the Premier League because they're doing well. So I'm with Ty, but Ty went even deeper, explaining the reason why we shouldn't even consider him. But I'm just going to leave my mine at. I don't buy the. I wouldn't. I'm not going to say let's sign him because of how well he did at Fulham. He was at Everton. How well did he do that? He was average. At the minimum, in my opinion. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, big
Hmm.
up to Ty. Yeah, it seems like when you're talking, you need to mute your mic so that we can hear ourselves talking. So this big up to Rich Money Makers, by the way. It says everyone hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It takes a second, and the sporting director us out. So I know I've shared something here, but again, man, I wish this is the kind of striker that we need at the moment. And people won't replicate what he did last season, but this one is doing it
I
just
mean,
for
he's
fun.
performed consistently from the Championship to the Portuguese league. He's performed every year.
Yeah, but again, with if we don't get Champions League spot, we won't be able to sign him. So yeah, man. And anyway, and we need to address some news about because we're from the media. I'll start now. Confirmed Chelsea has over the last week, and the London side are pushing her to land Dean Hoyson and are confident they will beat Liverpool. So I'm gonna start with you, Coachella. What are your overall thoughts about this player? And then, do you think he will fit well at Chelsea?
He's a perfect, from what I've heard, from what I've seen, I think he will be a perfect fit for the way Maresca likes to play. And the signs are good. The fact that reports suggest that we've held several talks with his camp, and it looks like Madrid aren't that interested in signing him. Yeah, that's a small opinion.
Yeah, and Bobby, what are your thoughts about this player?
Yeah, I mean, what I think is, whenever there's a bad performance and the fans are agitating, somebody somewhere throws out something like this to calm us down. Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of a positive in a sea of negative feelings. But at this current point in time, I never see, accept, or believe any of these transfer rumors until I see the guy holding up a Chelsea shirt. We've been doing this for years. We know what this is all about. They ban players around. I mean, this time last year, who was it? Wasn't it what's the name of that ex-Chelsea and then Crystal Palace kid? We went for one summer and then they gave him a new contract. The next summer, he was more or less walking into Chelsea. Then what happens? He goes to Bayern Munich. So,
Elise,
Olise, yeah, so I'm not sure about this. Yeah, it's great. If he comes, fantastic. But I think it's way too early to be counting our chickens on this one.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Hey, what about you? What do you think about this player? Do you think he'll fit well at Chelsea? Ty, are
oh
you there?
boy, are you able to hear me? Because I'm having problems unmute. Oh, flipping now. Are you hearing me?
yes, Ty, we can
Yes,
hear
yes.
you.
Okay, I'm having problems unmuting. So, um, yeah, I think. Well, I hope he can. Uh, at this point, I just don't know who would suit Chelsea anymore. Because uh, he's a good ball playing defender. What I've seen of him at Bournemouth. So that's one thing that we definitely need. That is one criteria of any player that you sign for Chelsea in the defense that will either make or break them being able to succeed at Chelsea. I know for a fact Tosin isn't really liked because his ball playing skills is not the greatest, but when it comes on to being a good tackler, you can rely on Tosin, and the proof is there because he would have saved us on numerous occasions in the box. So yeah, and that's why I have always said that it's important that you understand the players that the club are interested in or the players that are at the club, so that you are not you don't become unreasonable when they don't do certain things or they're poor in certain areas. So that is why with Tosin, and I'm not trying to promote my channel here, but in terms of when you do research on players and then you make videos on them, it makes it easier for you to understand the their capabilities, the traits, and their weaknesses, and that was one key weakness of him. And funny enough, Fulham, that's 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 the last club that he was at, and there's a reason why they didn't keep him, because in terms of the way that they play and his ball playing skills, as much as he was a good tackler and all of that, they needed somewhere that can actually play with from the back comfortably. And Tosin doesn't do that, but he obviously get a great good tackler at the end of the day. And the same could be said for Zuma. Zuma really was really what's the word I can use? On the Tuku, he became one of the backup options, or the correct word isn't coming to me, because of the fact that his ball playing skills weren't the greatest. And then West Ham was the same story. So all of that is important. And we're at a point in football where ball playing skills is very important as a defender. It was important obviously before, but it's there's more emphasis on defenders being good at that. And I'm sure that if it was a case where that was a case with a lot of the defenders that we call legends, they would not be respected at the level that they are, because they were good tacklers, but they were poor passers. So um, I, I think with Dean, he's a good ball playing defender, and I think he would fit the bill. But the same thing can be said, as you say, for the manager. Until you see him playing in the team, you just can never know for certain. And that's the approach that I'm taking to things these days, because you have to seeing is believing, before you actually come to a conclusion.
Did Tavejo slip off?
Oh, oh, I was on mute. Oh man, Jesus Christ! Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it seems like Chelsea signed this kid. I think in terms of a winger, Jamie Gittings is the one to watch, because if we've been linked with him even in the summer, but we couldn't sign him. So according to Fabrizio Romano via transfer sect, he says Jamie Gittings is a super appreciated by Chelsea and is on the list. There is a concrete chance for Jamie Gittings to leave that one this summer, monitoring the player. So, and then, and I'll ask you again, do you think it's the right profile for Chelsea?
Yeah, I think he is. He can finish, and I think we're looking for wingers that don't shy away from taking on their man, irrespective of whether it's low block, mid block, or whatever. He's good at it. He goes at the players to try to beat them, get into the box. He also has an eye for goals. Has what's the correct way to phrase it? Has eyes for goals or has an eye for goals? I'm not sure. But I think he fits well. He does fit the way we play. Yeah. Whether it will happen, I'll stick with what Bobby said. Yeah, we wait until he sees the person holding up the shirt after signing the deal. That's when he'd know that, yeah, he's our man. So
Bobby, what do you know about the player? Have you watched him yet?
Which player is this? Howson?
Gittins, Jamie
Oh,
Gittins.
Gittins. I've
Yeah.
seen bits of Gittins. It's questionable. Is he really what we need? We're meant to be having Esteval Williams coming. Um, I haven't noticed him show any particular dribbling skills. The only thing I like about him is his physicality, which we tend to be lacking. He seems to have an eye for goal as well, but that's in the German league, and of course, somewhat in the Champions League. The advantage is he's played in the Premier League before, apparently. I don't know. I think there could be better options out there. I really don't know if he is what we need. Dare I say it? Dare I say it? Yes, we need another winger. but he seems rather one-footed. If he comes, he's either going to have to be on the right or down the middle.
Okay.
I don't know his profile very well. Maybe Ty knows.
Yeah, Ty would know.
He, he plays as a left winger.
Okay.
Okay, he's a left winger. So
Yes.
at least in the last game, I saw him with Dortmund against who was it they played against
Barcelona.
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 He was very much on the right, so maybe he is flexible. He can go
No,
left and
maybe
right.
He's able to play on the right as well because he's good on he has his weak he does I would say that he doesn't have a weak foot as they call it, yeah, where you have to play on one side because you have to tuck in on your stronger foot, whatever the case may be. His weaker foot is well his weaker foot allows him to play on either side because he doesn't necessarily have a weaker foot. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what they say, a player has a weaker foot. But when it comes on to taking attempts with his weaker foot, or coming in from what side using his weaker foot, it's he's still able to hit on target, but his numbers isn't the greatest thing. You're basically starting another player that literally has the same numbers as what we currently have. So that's not an improvement. But at the same time, you can't base the decision based on one season, um, because we've seen what happened when we signed players who were doing glorious in one league, and when they came, they were doing nothing. The same could be said for players that other clubs have signed that had a poor season, and when they're in a different system, they perform way better than they were playing at their former club. So I don't think that's the whole basis. I am not too sure about if I would trust what he's doing in the Bundesliga. We've signed players from the Bundesliga now on multiple occasions and the track record hasn't been the greatest. But he's a promising player. He's still very young. Um, at this point, I kind of feel offended because he's around my age as well. So at this point, Chelsea should just sign me.
So just assign Ty. I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm back. So my biggest issue with signing this kid is that his price tag was 100 million, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's been cut down to
And then
50.
our
I read that from Vince's post.
50.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But
Am I wrong, Ty? I think I read something to that effect. That the asking price went down to 50.
I saw something like that in a couple of days ago about it dropping.
okay, I'm not sure yet.
You're drinking too much Wukomoti.
But but also, please kindly mute. Okay. Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. And also, I would rather go for Nico Williams rather than this kid because Nico Williams than this kid. But also,
Mhm.
Nico Williams' issue is
Go ahead. Go ahead.
his wages.
Yeah,
His
his wages
wages
plus
alone.
his wages plus his preferences to join Barcelona. But this kid wants to come back to England. I'm quite sure you've heard that too.
He want to come in England.
He wants to play in England. He doesn't want to go anywhere else but England.
Oh, that's a bonus. But also, the issue is the price tag. But with Jamie Gittings, he's a good player. But nah. we have so many kids. Yes, I know you can buy expensive.
I would say he's garnered enough experience. The question is, he's garnered good experience. The question should be, is he good enough? Honestly, I'm not sure what to say.
Here we go again. But anyway, guys, anything we like us to talk about before we wrap it up, because it seems like my issue won't stop now.
What I want us to talk about quickly is that this is the Blue Alliance show, the Chelsea Alliance show, aka the Blue Alliance show. We host in turn. We host the show turn by turn. The show travels from one channel to the other. The next one could be Ty, it could be me. Now it's just within three platforms. The coolest Chelsea session, and Chelsea perspective. We're not going to add anybody until anybody once someone joins first, and the turn goes round again between the three people that I've hosted so far. Before we be up to 6 hosts, we continue to grow. Yeah, it just, as the name implies, it's an alliance where our aim is to discuss matters concerning our beloved club, Chelsea Football Club, as objectively as possible. Except when Tobejo drinks a lot of Ukomoti. And yeah, you get it.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ty, Bobby, Coachella, for joining. We had to Bully. It's a great honor for us to have our owner watching the stream. Rich Money Makers. We had Safety Gavin earlier today. Those are watching and haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, you subscribe to Ty Coachella's YouTube channels. See you in the next stream.
Up the
Cheers.
Chelsea. See you guys next week.